Welcome to your vocabulary study, set 7. The roots we will be discussing today are chron, temp, and the prefixes will be pre and post. And now your forget-me-not. Repetition improves vocabulary. Studying vocabulary is important, as is using the vocabulary. Repetition will improve your vocabulary. Just like learning a new language, the more you use the language, the better you get at it. The more you improve. The same goes with vocabulary. So don't look at these words once and be like, oh, I know that. No, repetition, studying, finding ways to use the vocabulary with friends and family, that is what is important. That is what will truly improve your vocabulary. Our only roots for today, chron and temp, which both mean time. Chronological is an adjective that means arranged in the order in which something occurred, relating to time and the progression of time, how time goes on. Timelines are graphic representations of events arranged in chronological order. Contemporary. Contemporary is both an adjective and a noun. When it's an adjective, contemporary means living or occurring in the present or same time as something else, marked with the characteristics of the current time period. Two qualities of contemporary literature are stories that are character-driven and rooted in reality. The noun of contemporary is someone living during the same time period as another, someone who is the same age. Anne Frank was a contemporary of Martin Luther King, Jr. The third term is chronic. It is an adjective that means persisting for a long time or recurring indefinitely, always present, describing an ongoing habit. An example of the third part of the definition would be his chronic complaining becomes tiresome after a while. Chronic could also refer to a chronic condition, to chronic pain, to chronic ideas such as chronic unemployment. The next word is extemporaneous, a big word. It is an adjective that means spoken or completed without preparation, planned previously but delivered with little notice or help, or impromptu. Kent's extemporaneous delivery of his prepared speech captivated his audience. I hope all of you practice your spoken presentations enough that you can do it with little notes or help. You can just look at the audience and speak from the heart. Temporary is an adjective meaning lasting for only a short period of time, impermanent, not permanent. The splint had been a temporary fix before Mary was fitted for her cast. Now, if you change the Y, dropped the Y, and added ILY to the end, temporary would become temporarily, which is an adverb. And it would describe the verb. So just changing that ending would actually change the part of speech. Next, we're going to discuss pre, which is a prefix. Notice how that pre is in the word prefix. It means before. So before the word, this is another piece of the word you can add before the root, before the word, before the morpheme. Precaution is a noun that means to manage something or take care of something beforehand, to prevent harm, unpleasantness, or inconvenience. My father took the precaution of purchasing a generator in case the electricity went out during the storm. The next term is a verb. Precede means to come before in order, time, or position, to go in front or ahead of someone. Fever and fatigue often precede the appearance of the chicken pox rash. They come before the rash. Precedent. Do not confuse this with president. Precedent, with a C, is a noun that means an earlier legal decision, person, action, or event that is used as a model for all future events. Martha Washington set the precedent for future first ladies. Preamble is a noun that means an introduction to a speech or statement, an introductory circumstance that impacts what follows. For instance, if you lie about breaking a lamp and someone else takes the blame, that person then gets in trouble, and then you feel guilty, and then you finally confess. This was the introductory circumstance, that you lied about breaking the lamp. Fred began speaking without preamble. Time was of the essence. So Fred began speaking without an introduction. This is the first part of the definition. Now, if preamble is written with a capital P, that is talking about the preamble to the Constitution, the introduction to the Constitution. The next term is prelude. Prelude is the next term, and it is a noun. It means a piece of music that serves as an introduction. It is also an action or event serving as an introduction to something more important. The prelude was dark and ominous, a perfect foreshadowing of the opera's overall themes. The next prefix is post, which means after. The term is postpone, and it is a verb that means to cause or reschedule something to take place at a later date. The hurricane forced the mayor to postpone the festival for another month. You may have also seen this word in terms of an assignment. Perhaps the teacher postponed an assignment due to a circumstance that was unfavorable. Post-production. It's a noun that means the work done to edit and produce a film after it is filmed or recorded. The actors finished their scenes yesterday, but there are still several months of post-production to complete before the movie is ready to be viewed by the public. Next, we have an adjective. It is post-industrial. Post-industrial means relating to a society that does not rely on industry. Industry meaning machinery and making things. The United States is considered a post-industrial society as it has shifted and continues to shift toward a service-based economy. So it's not as much about machinery anymore. It's not about selling things as much anymore. It's more services. What can I do? What skill or trade can I do to sell to you? Post-date is a verb that means to write a date later than the current time, to occur at a later date than something else. Many written stories post-date the same stories that traveled by mouth for centuries. If you're ever interested, look up oral histories. Look at all these stories that have been passed down generation to generation without them being written first. They only continued through telling the stories to kids and the kids telling that same story to their kids and on and on and on. Post-meridian is an adjective that means relating to occurrences after noon. The post-meridian hours are brutally hot until the sun sets. Side note, this is PM. 8 p.m. That's post-meridian. That's actually what that abbreviation stands for. And wow, that was all our words already. So what is your study tip now that you have these new words? It is to understand that words are composed of parts. Stop looking at words as word, 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 word. Look at that word and say, oh, here's a prefix, and here's the root, and here's the suffix, and this means before, and this root means build. Look at the word in that way, because you can actually piece together this word's meaning and this word's history or etymology through breaking down the word into parts.